And in episode 10, the battle kicks off. Guns get fired. Rockets get fired. Lawmen die one by one. But this is really a battle between Agent Stone and the Lawmen versus everybody else. So when Sweet Tooth comes upon Quiet and John Doe, he doesn't really look to kill them at all. In fact, he compliments them. Because an enemy of my enemy is my friend sort of thing. With so many enemies, Stone is easily distracted. At one point, he just starts firing the convoy. And he is able to kill a bunch of the convoy members while also severely injuring Amber. Stu also almost perishes, but he doesn't. He gets saved by Mike. His bigger issue is Sweet Tooth shot off some rockets, and those rockets inadvertently hit the convoy. And Stu couldn't figure out why Sweet Tooth would do that because, as he put it, they're on our side. And Sweet Tooth just didn't care. Now, up until this point, Mike had tried to convince Stu that this clown was nuts. It wasn't somebody that Stu or Mike should really align themselves with because eventually he's going to end up turning on them. And Mike was right. Mike starts to covertly point a gun at Sweet Tooth, and Sweet Tooth notices it and grabs Mike and looks at Stu and says, "All right, pull the trigger and put your dog down." But Stu can't do it. He pulls the trigger, but it's at Sweet Tooth, and him and Mike jump out the back of the truck. Somehow, this move does not kill Sweet Tooth. He continues on trying to get to Stone, although he is very upset because he felt like he was betrayed by Stu. Sweet Tooth, though, isn't able to get to Stone. Roadkill gets to Stone first. Using a jerry-rig contraption, they're able to flip Stone's vehicle. Unfortunately, the impact ends up causing John and Quiet's vehicle to crash as well, and they both bump their heads pretty good. John especially, he's knocked out, and it gives Stone an opportunity to get out of his car and get the jump on Quiet and John. Stone drags Quiet out of the vehicle, and he's got her there dead to rights with a gun in his hand. But Stone's biggest problem is he doesn't shut up. He doesn't get to the whole killing her thing. He drags it on and on, giving her this speech that nobody cares about. And during that speech, John Doe wakes up. He goes to the glove box, he grabs Quiet's axe, and he chucks it at Stone, hitting him right in the face. It doesn't kill Stone, though, because it hits him in the cheek. And now Quiet is standing over Stone with a gun. Instead of killing him, she decides to do the same thing that he did for her. She decides to give him a choice. He can either die slowly and bleed out, or he could off himself. She drops the gun at his feet, she gets into roadkill, and her and John Doe take off. A couple seconds down the road, they hear one single gunshot. A little while later, Quiet and John Doe arrive outside the gates of New San Francisco just in the nick of time. I'm talking seconds to spare. Raven grabs the package, welcomes John into New San Francisco, but when Quiet starts to walk towards the gates, she gets stopped at gunpoint. Raven explains that the deal wasn't for the both of them, the deal was just for John. And even though John explains to Raven that she would never have the package without Quiet, Raven's not changing the parameters of the deal. John then decides to take a stand, saying, "All right, well, if she can't come, then I'm not going either." But Quiet doesn't allow him to do that. She reminds John that he's wanted this his entire life, and she's not about to be the reason that he doesn't go inside. He still doesn't want this, though, and she pulls a gun on him, shooting him in the shoulder, which forces him to go inside. They have to medically tend to him. Against his wishes, Raven's security team drags John Doe inside as Quiet sits outside, watching it all. But now with John being a resident of New San Francisco, they need a new milkman. And they just assume that Quiet will take the job. So the security team hands her a package. But she has no interest in being a milkman. She takes that package and gives it to all the poor people standing outside of the gates. She then gets in the car and heads off. As John is getting patched up, Raven takes a look at the package that he delivered. It's just ice cream. It's Rocky Road. And as an ice cream enthusiast, I respect this. And while she loves ice cream, this was more of a test than anything else. Calypso held up his end of the bargain, and John was able to deliver the package in time. 1 month later, John is really getting accustomed to living his new life. Everybody in New San Francisco is nice. Everybody is pumped to see him. When he walks outside, all he gets are, "Hey, John, what's going on, John? Good to see you, John." He's basically a celebrity in New San Francisco because he lived on the outside. And a lot of these people have never been on the outside, so His war stories entertain everybody. With his new gained popularity, he also has date requests, and he gets to try pizza. But what John doesn't know is all of it's a ruse. All of it was orchestrated by Raven. All of his friends, everybody being super nice to him. She's the puppet master, just pulling strings. Quite often, Raven gets updates from people in the city telling her about John's mood, about how he's feeling, getting acclimated, but more importantly, if he's ready to start driving for her. Even though they think that John will be ready pretty soon to start driving for her, they're all wrong. Because the missing piece, Quiet, not being there, it's something that they didn't account for. He never talks about it, so they don't see it. So they're all pretty surprised when one day he walks into the bar where Raven is, and he tells her, "I'm leaving." She tries to talk him out of it, reminding him that he's giving up this new life for a life on the outside. It's kind of dumb. But he's made up his mind. There's one final play that Raven has. They head off to a very nice-looking house, and John's kind of perplexed as to why she's bringing him here, and she says, "It's because it's yours." He thinks that she's giving him the house, but she says, "No, this was your house." He then pulls out that burnt picture. He takes a look at the house, looks at the picture, and realizes that picture was taken in front of this house. Raven tells him to look in the mailbox, and when he does, he pulls out a bunch of pictures of him as a kid with his parents. She also tells him that she decided to look into him when she heard about the lore of John Doe the milkman. She found out that he had roots in New San Francisco. She figures that he has a bunch of questions, and if he stays in New San Francisco, he'll get some answers. John Doe thinks about it, and while it's very enticing, he tells Raven, "This isn't my home. It's his, whatever his name is, because this isn't me anymore. My home's out there with Quiet." Not exactly what Raven was expecting. Up until this point, she'd been pretty nice, but she has no more nice cards to play. She has a bunch of her security put guns at John's head and says, "All right, I tried to be nice, but I have a job for you. I need a driver. You passed the test when you did my little run, and now I need your driving skills. Because there's going to be a tournament, the first of its kind. It's going to involve the best drivers from all across the country, from all walks of life. The only rule in this tournament is survive. John Doe, you are my horse, and I need you to win because Calypso is offering the winner their heart's desire. So you're going to help me win, and you're going to do it by turning everybody in your path into a pile of twisted metal." Doesn't seem like John has much of a choice, and if he's going to do this, he's probably going to do it without Quiet. His plan on going out there and searching for her, it's been put to the sideline. The thing is, John doesn't even know if Quiet's alive. But Quiet is very much alive. In fact, since leaving New San Francisco, she's become a sort of Robin Hood. She's been robbing milkmen and using their packages to give to the poor. And her story has quickly gotten out. But while driving one day, she gets stopped by a gang of women, all wearing doll-like masks. They've got her car surrounded, and if they want to, they could easily kill her, but they don't. Their leader just looks at Quiet and says, "Hey, girl, I've been dying to talk to you because I heard you know my brother." He goes by John, and that is the end of Season 1 of Twisted Metal. Thank you so much for getting this part of the recap. I really appreciate it. Consider subscribing to the channel. Hit thumbs up if you like this. Smash that thumbs down button if you thought this recap sucked. Be nice in the comments section. Nasty comments do make me feel bad. I have merch, so go buy a t-shirt or a hat or a mug or something. You know, I got bills to pay. I got a 3-month-old kid, and diapers are expensive. But if you don't do any of that and you just share it on social media, that's good enough too.